Be careful what you shoot at. Huh? Most things in here don't react too well to bullets.
Alright, so I wanted to do a video to show how I did the range, just in case somebody was curious, if people wanted to do it themselves. So one of the important things is to know that you need to use the foundation floor from either the barns or the warehouses, because this allows you to glitch through, pillar glitch through. So how many do we have? One, two, three, four, five, and it's 6 long, so let's do that. Hopefully that's gonna allow us to, and you can put whatever walls you want up. I used the concrete because in my mind that made it seem more like it was, at least on the outside, made it seem more like it was going to be something that um, would help protect the surrounding area. So we use concrete there, and I think what we'll do is we need a platform to stand on, so let's use this. Come on, there we go. So we have a platform, and let's get our walls all the way up. And for this one I'm just going to do a single lane, so we'll just do concrete walls all the way around. So um, it really doesn't matter. It's obviously up to personal preference and all that kind of stuff, but oops, um, it just seemed to be something that, you know, this would obviously work indoors or out, and in this case it's outdoors. Alright, so now we have that. Now we need our targets. So the targets we are going to use are, we want the pulse target. Okay, so just a matter of setting these in place. So the first one's going to be in the middle here, and the next one is, okay, that's one square. The next one is going to be on the edge of this square, so they're going to be essentially 1.5 spots away. That one, and then the last one is going to be here, and we're going to get this as absolutely close to the outside edge as we can get it, right? So that way it gives us a nice lane down to shoot from. Okay, now is a matter of hooking up the power. So what we're going to do is, first we need, while we're here, we need a timer. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a wall over here, and boy, those Finch people, man, they never stop bitching, do they? All right, so okay, let's move this over here, and we will put our other electronics here. And so I'm just going to set these out so that way I don't have to remember to do them. But I will explain it when it comes time. So we're going to set that here, and then we also need a NOR gate, right? I believe it's the NOR gate. Yeah, the NOR gate. So we need an AND gate and a NOR gate. Alright, so we have our timer. Oops, come here. So we have our timer. We'll set that here, and we're also going to need a computer. So we need a terminal. The only reason why we need the terminal is because we need to set the power here. So I've never built a generator here, but if I ever build here, I'm going to need a big one. So might as well put a big one out here. That's what she said, right? Ha ha ha. What a clever guy. Ha ha ha. Alright. So, come on, get up here. Alright, so Okay, so first thing we got to do is we have to set the intervals for the switch. It's an interval switch, so we need to set the time on. We're going to set it for 10 seconds on and 10 seconds off. Oops. I didn't want to go all the way back. Come on. There we go. So now we have it set for 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off. We can actually get rid of the terminal. Alright, and we'll just run our power straight to the thing. And first we're going to come down to here, because that is going to be a power spot. And then this will also go to there. We're going to have this go to there. And yeah. So also while we're here, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and put up some. We need something up here to hang our light from. So what we're going to do here is I did a little bit different for the lights. I had used this light, right? So I used, oops, actually used the green light, right? And let's move this more towards the inside to where we can see it. And then the other one is going to be this light here, and you'll kind of see why I did it that way, and you can kind of adjust it as needed, but yeah, so those are going to be there. Now the final thing that we need here before we really get started is our counters. So basically we need 2 counters, and we're going to go 1, 2, and hook those up there. You could probably pull them out here if this will work. Alright, so that one will go there. Let's just give ourselves some room there, and you'll see why we need the room here in a minute. So now we have to build some conduit to get from point A to point B, and we'll get the conduit built and then put it into place, and I will show you guys all kinds of how to do that. But essentially, you know, it's not something overly complicated, something that pretty much anybody can kind of figure out. But we're going to need 2 sets of conduit, one to supply the power to the targets, and then one to return the target's feedback to here. Okay, so I've built the conduit, and here's what I have. I have incoming, or a terminal here, a junction here, and then I have one large piece, second large piece, a medium straight piece, then I have the pass-through junction, and this is going to allow me to continue on, and then also this is going to be where the first switch is going to connect. Then I have a large one, a short one with a T with a short piece of conduit, and terminal here. We could possibly get away with a medium one, but a short one should work. Then I have one large one, one small straight, the smallest radius curve, 90-degree curve piece, one straight piece of conduit, and another ending terminal. So now all we have to do is put these in place, and let's whenever you're doing something like this, I always recommend saving before you do that. So let's go ahead and save this before we get that far, and we will get this put into place, and see how well this works. So Actually, before we do that, let's get some daylight. Oops, I don't want that. Let's get some daylight. Um, that way you guys can actually see what the hell's going on. So I'm just going to sit in a chair and we will go for 5 hours. That will make us 6 o'clock. Should be able to see much better by then. Alright, so um, should be able to start seeing a little bit better. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get this put into place. See you later, Cotsworth. Alright, so here we go. So keep in mind, we're going to basically be building this thing twice. So it's a bit tedious. It took me a few tries, so I did want to edit this out, and I don't know why this is acting like this, but I don't like that. Let's try this again. I don't like it. The fact that it wasn't green kind of confuses me. I don't know why it did that. I'm not touching the conduit. Okay, let's try this again. Alright, so now we're green. Now we're not green. Oh well. We'll have to rely on the pillar to be red when we can't place it. So if the pillar's green, we're green. Alright, keep that in mind. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get this, try to get this as straight down the row as we can, and then we're going to sink it down until the pillar turns red. Come up just a little bit, and if you come up just a tad bit more, you may be able to actually replace some of the conduit pieces as you go, but this doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So anyway, so here we go. So we have this one, we can connect to that one, this one, oops, that one can connect to this one, and this one can connect to that one. Alright, so now we have power, technically, to our switches, and so just to make sure that we do have power, let's go ahead and get ourselves a something over here, get us some power going on. Alright, so now we have power to our switches. Now we need to return the power back. Okay, so that means another set of conduit, and instead of running down along this side, we're going to run right down the middle. So we can pretty much figure out that we're going to go the same for this first one. So we're going to have two large pieces, one medium piece, and then this medium, or this a pass-through, and this one will probably be a pass-through as well, so we can go with one large piece, one small piece, and a straight pass-through, and that should be able to get us to there. And then we'll have one large piece and maybe a medium piece, because we won't have the 90-degree turn. So we'll go two large, one medium, straight pass through, one large, one small, straight pass through, and then a large and a medium with an end piece. Let's see how that works out, and I will be back once I have that built. Okay, so one of the things I did was I also had to rest a little bit because it was raining and I wanted to have some daylight so you guys actually see this. So here's what we have for the returns. So we have our end conduit again, junction conduit. We have a long one, two long ones, one medium one. We have a T with a short and a junction there. Then we have a long, a short, and a straight through with the junction, a long, a short, and then the junction. And we're going to move the pillar to the other side because this one is going to be placed from the other angle. So let's go put this in place. Oh, let's save this before we go. I almost messed up. So like I said, we always want to save it for these types of things because it can be so much of a pain to have to undo something like this. So we'll save it before we go. and let's go put it in place and see how well it works out. Alright, so I like to look down at an angle here. Okay, so we can sink it down, come back up. Alright, let's see how that goes. Alright, so first one's pretty much perfect. Hook that one up. Second one, pretty damn good. And third one, just as good as the first. Alright, so that gets us all of that going on. So the next thing that we're going to need is we need a conduit all the way to the end. Not one of the conduits we're just doing, but one of these other ones, because we need to get this light on the wall to work. So we're just going to do a wire glitch through here, and you can kind of hide these however you choose, but this is just about as good as anything. And so what we do, boom. Okay, so now you'll notice that will go off here in a moment. Yep, so that went off, and we have our wires going down, our wires coming back. Now here's what we want to do. So we want this one to count and then that one. So we're going to hook this one up first. That should count the ones and then the tens. Let's test this out. Let's move our pillar over here. We get all this done, and then we'll get our light hooked up, and we shall be done. Let's get that, and we'll use the deliverer. Okay. So as soon as this comes up, and I'm going to go through a couple cycles here. Boy, I'm not so good with this thing. I need more practice with open sights. How many was that? So we got 8. Okay. We only need a couple more, so that's good. How many do we have there? Alright. We are at 26. So that's how you need to hook those up. So we have our return wire, comes up, and the ones will be on the inside. You hook the return wire to it, and then you hook the wire going across to the other one. So this will pass power as long as you don't set anything on the terminal with the terminal. This passes power by default when it cycles all the way back around to 0. So it cycles back around to 0, and then it counts forward. So we can even see that here. Maybe. We'll get this to power back on. 7, 8, 9. See, cycles through. You can just see down in the lower corner. And I don't know why it went to 4 instead of 3, but maybe it's counting by 2s. I don't know. I'm not sure. That part I'm not sure about, but I think that it's working correctly. May have been just some sort of weird glitch or something, but yeah. So then after you get all that done, then what you need to do is you need to you need to throw up some decorations, right? And the decorations can be pretty much anything. Basically what I did was I threw a couple of these things up here, and just to kind of hide them a little bit, and whatever, and then you can even do something like this, something like that, and then there's always these bushes. Where's the bushes? Yeah, so you can also put these bushes up here, something like that. Um, that always works as well, and it just kind of you know helps add a little bit of realism or something like that. But the last thing we need to do is get our power going to our red light. So what we're going to do is, this is the very last step. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to put this here, and we're going to put another one clear over here. And I'm just going to wire glitch it just for simplicity's sake. But what I had done in at the castle was I just ran a conduit along the outside and hooked it up. And I mean that wouldn't be very difficult to do, um, but for this purpose, I'm just going to wire glitch. Um, it's about as easy as anything. I mean, what I would recommend would be to hide all of the controls someplace, so that way you don't have to, you don't have them sticking out, so everybody can see them. But so hide the controls and come on, there we go. Back behind something or whatever, and that way it kind of helps continue with the illusion. I gotta wait for the power to turn on. Alright, so we want green for fire, red for don't fire. There we go, red. Actually, I like the more toned down red more. Oops. Which is the next one. Okay, so let's see how this looks. And here we are in the daylight. I have a slight problem. Ah, and this is why I use the conduit. Um, I'm a bit too close with this thing. Um, but this is why the conduit works, because conduit does not radiate from the end, um, like these pillars do. So um, we'll we'll get it adjusted. So that's the one thing with, and I mean you could run the light bulbs for both, right? You could run those light bulbs, which would actually prevent this from happening. Um, but I just wanted to kind of demonstrate how I had done it previously. So okay, still working. They radiate too much. Um, yeah, there's not much I can do about that. It's just radiating too much when it's off. So um, I mean, I can move it farther away, but I think you all get the idea. So um, that is how you build a range. Um, Let me know if you guys have any questions, and if there's something else that you wanted for me to show or what have you. Let me kind of go through the logic in case I hadn't yet. So just so you know how this logic works. So we're using an AND gate and a NOR gate. So the AND gate has to have power on two inputs before it'll pass power on the output. So what we do is we're going to provide constant power to the AND gate with one of the inputs. The other input is going to be on our interval switch, so it's going to go off whenever it's passing, whenever it's turned off, right? So when it gets turned off, uh, then it stops passing power. Now you'll notice when it stops passing power, for the NOR gate, you only need one input, and that one input, it will only pass power when the one input has no power to it, right? So it's currently got power to it, it's not going to pass power out. It has no power going to the input, so now it's going to pass power. And that is how we alternate our lights, right? So that the only purpose for this part here, for these two gates, is to get the alternating lights. So on then off, right? Obviously, with the conduit being back there, that power pole being back there, it's not quite working the way that it did in my castle, but you guys get the idea. So um, I hope that helps everybody understand how to do that. And I hope that you guys decide that you want to do something similar or expand and improve on this. This was just something I kind of thought up one night before I went to bed, and got it put into place, and had a little bit of help along the way, and all those types of things. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you like to see these kinds of videos. I'll be more than happy to continue doing them when I come across something that I find interesting, and I think helpful that other people might want to see. So thank you very much, everybody. Hope you like it, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Come on, Codsworth. Let's go on and figure out where the hell we're going to build next.
Everything's clear now.
Get busy living or get busy dying. That's goddamn right.